Good evening, everyone. 6.0 reconvene open session procedural business 5:30 p.m. 6.1 call to order. The Board of Trustees are hereby reconvening the open session at 5:34 p.m. 6.2 roll call. Trustees identify themselves by first and last name to formally establish quorum.
Dr. William Ellinger, Trustee Area 1.
Dana Ridlin, Trustee Area 2.
Scott Pratt, Trustee Area 4.
Cindy Gardner, Trustee Area 3.
Jordan Zarate, Trustee Area 5, Running Springs, Bear Lake, Greenbelt.
And as you all can note, Dr. Mellinger is joining us remotely. So in doing so, when we vote on items later on, we will all be having to do a roll call vote, just for your information. 6.3 Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask our new hire, Mrs. by Victoria Haddad. She's going to be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
7.0 closed session report. 7.1 announcement of reportable actions taken during closed session, of which we have 2. In closed session, the board considered the appeal of complaint number 25/26-1 pursuant to administrative regulation 1312.1. It also considered the information provided by the parties and the superintendent's designee's written response to the complaint. The board took action to uphold the superintendent designee's decision on the complaint and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate notices. The roll call vote was as follows. The vote was unanimous. Additionally, in the case of student number 17913, the board voted unanimously to expel the student for violation of Education Code Section 48900.81. The expulsion is to be effective 10/17/25, and the student may apply for reinstatement after 6/12/2026, consistent with district policy and state law. .0 public testimony. Do we have any? We have none. So 8.3 Grand Teachers Association. Do I have a representative? Okay. And then CSEA? No representatives. Okay, moving ahead. 9.0 represent reports and presentations. We have 9.1, the student representative report earlier on and before closed session. We did adjust the agenda. There is no student representative report tonight. We additionally moved 9.6 up to precede 9.1. So we're going to ask for 9.6. Education Services presentation by the Room of the World High School Theater and Troupe 145 to take place now. Now we have students presenting, and chances are they have other things they want to do and sit through this meeting. Welcome.
Hello, I am Alex Cortez, Vice President of Troupe 145. Hi, I'm Leila Dennis, Secretary of Troupe 145. Hello, I'm Irie Hill, Publicity of Troupe 145. Our president sadly was not able to join us. She is actually cheering at tonight's football game. So if anybody wants to go to the football game, she'll be there.
Turn it around, see if it's on in the back.
I can do it from here.
Okay, so we would like to invite you board members to our fall production Crowns and Chaos, which is 2 minor 1 acts. One is named Cinderella, Fairy Godmother's Tale, and the other one is called Princess Party Smackdown.
Well, wait, what I went too far.
You want me to start? Yeah. Okay, so these are some pictures from our most recent rehearsals. Our cast and crew's been working really hard. We open in how many days? We have 11 rehearsals left. Do you have anything else to add to that? I don't.
So a lot of our casting, a lot of people in our cast is also in crew. Like myself, I am both in the first one act and I'm a part of costume crew. So we're all working really hard to bring this together, and we hope whoever comes to see it really enjoys the show.
So not only is our show high schoolers, but we have also have our middle schoolers playing some of the ensemble cast in the show. And one of our middle schoolers is actually a lead in one of the acts. And another one we have shadowing our stage manager.
The week before our opening night, we have day shows for the elementary school. So VOE has already signed up for 2 days, the Monday 27th and then Tuesday the 28th. And they will come to the high school to see our first one act, which is Cinderella, Fairy Godmother's Tale, which I am in. So
So our opening night is November 1st, and we have 4 other shows, one on the 2nd, one on the 7th, and then 2 on the 8th. And we would really enjoy if you guys attended.
thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you at the show.
Can you say those dates again real quick?
November
Oh,
1st,
Yeah.
2nd, 7th, and 8th.
What about the date that VOE is coming?
The 27th and the 28th.
Okay. Okay, I'm hoping, yes, so those are, okay, fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll show Cindy how to use her phone later.
What? Okay, it's on. My coffee's taken in.
This is gonna be a long night. Okay, let me go back here. No, actually not. Okay. 9.2 governing board members. Jordan, can you start us off, please?
Sure, I appreciate the invitation. I will send the picture of the date set over to you, Cindy. Wishing the team luck at the football game tonight. And with that, of course, I'll let Cindy talk about it, but the deadline for the governor to sign and veto bills passed this week, so I'm sure Cindy has a lot to say there. Maybe. With that, I'll pass it over because I know we have a lot of reports tonight.
Oh, okay, just assumed. Okay, sorry. Yeah, football is playing and they're undefeated going into this game, so we are wishing them tremendous luck. Volleyball is doing pretty well too, so we are excited about that. Cross country always does really well. We have some individual talent there, so we're excited about our sports, our fall sports, and then winter sports are getting, starting up. Practice. So it'll be a really fun winter season as well. I'm excited for soccer. My favorite. Sorry. There's a lot of things in October going on. We have Red Ribbon Week. All the PTs are collaborating with their school sites. The elementary fall festival. I was getting there, dude. Fall festival at CHE. Then we have trunk or treat both at LAE and VOE on October 30th, which is the last day before our October 31st break. So that's going to be exciting. There's VOE in hearing their report last night at Mountain Council this week. They kicked some major butt on their fundraising. They raised a lot of money, so we're excited. LAE's fundraiser is going to get started, so it's really exciting to see the success and all the hard work of parents paying off. So trunk or treat, Red Ribbon Week, and then we head into November. Yay! And I think that's it because we have a lot going on.
I know we have a lot going on, so I'm gonna keep mine short. talking about football and sports and hearing from drama, who's including everybody, and seeing all the activities that we have at all campuses. I just want to encourage everybody to find a place for your students to be involved in sports, any activities. I will go to the drama presentation. I promise I will make it this year. I missed last year, but again, I think the more our kids are involved and the more the parents encourage their kids and students to get involved and reach out to other students, get them involved and push them to be a part of something they might not. And that's going to help our community and our schools grow closer together, and we'll have success overall. So I encourage everybody to be involved in activities moving forward.
Bill, would you like to go into your comments?
Okay. So everyone else is short, so I'm going to take a really long time. I'm really proud of all the work that was done for the Career and College Fair. It was an excellent experience this year. Many more businesses and entities that were out there, and community ones. So that was just great. Stephanie always does a super job of welcoming everybody, and that's just been exceptional. Congratulations to all of our sports teams and the band. And to the work that they're all doing. It doesn't hurt that having great records and winning records. Nevertheless, we've some great teams and great leaders that are guiding those teams, and I include the band in that. I'm excited for the theater because our students always do an exceptional job there. And so looking forward to Crowns and Chaos, and I will be there. I want to make a couple notes. One, I appreciate the work that's been going on equity and social justice over the last couple of years, particularly the students that have participated in sharing through the LCAP, and I really appreciate the work that those students have done and the honesty that has been there. Lastly, I'm sorry to end on a negative, but I am deeply concerned about our deficit spending. The amount of increase in costs this year and over the next few years. I'm deeply concerned about how do we try to take care of our staff when we are in such a negative place, and even the county is looking at that. And so we've somehow have to use the unity and the hard work of the whole team, of everybody, to try to reduce spending, and yet at the same time take care of all of our staff. So, and most importantly, take care of our students. So with that, it's back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Millinger, and I'll keep my comments short as well. I want to make sure everybody puts on their calendar the Mountain Health and Resource Fair that's going to be on May 6th at the high school. So it's many, many months away, but if there's any organizations that wish to participate, this would be a good time to contact us in terms of wanting to be involved. If you are interested, I could send you out a form for that, and hopefully sometime in the next month or two we might be able to have through our district website also having a link. But you can go to my email, which is on the district website, and email me if your organization would like to get involved. Jessica Mazakis is heavily involved with organizing this, and it's fantastic. May 6th is the date. The nonprofit HAFTRA has been fantastic for the district with support from the Rotary in doing dental screenings for all of our elementary students. And then now all those screenings took place about a couple of weeks ago. And now elementary site by elementary site, they have dental hygienists and dentist volunteers who are going to the sites, and with parental approval, they're applying sealants to students who have been identified with need. So last week, the group was at Hoffman Elementary. Tomorrow, they're going to be at LAE. And again, they're going to be going to each elementary at least twice and making sure that all of our kiddos get those sealants on. And it's free and it's amazing. So wonderful that HAFTRA does this. Wonderful that our Rotaries support HAFTRA in providing this. Another way, if anybody wants to get involved, is at BOE, the Rooted Together program, where during recess and lunch, community members can come in, play with the kids. Kids need to play. They need to have, one of the remnants of of COVID and virtual is that some of our little ones really missed out on some key developmental play activity. And who doesn't need some recess among us adults? So REM Family Services is going in once a week and playing with the kiddos. Law enforcement is scheduled to come in, fire departments are coming in, and these, it's fun, and the kids benefit, community benefit. So if you're interested in doing that, actually, you can call over to VOE. I believe you can just show up. And recess and lunch seems to be happening quite almost nonstop during the day. So showing up and being able to participate is open to you. And then one last thing I wanted to mention is on Veterans Day, which is November 11th. At 11 o'clock, there's going to be, every year, there's a ceremony over at, I forget what the name of it, it's something Ridge that's over off of North Bay Road. It's the Veterans Memorial over there, so it's at 11 o'clock. On November 11th, already our wrestling program is volunteering to help with setup. So I love the fact that our high school students are getting involved. And if you have the time at 11 o'clock on Veterans Day, it's a fantastic 1 hour ceremony. It'll be very touching. So I will wrap it up with those comments. Thank you.
There's also another ceremony at the Reading Springs Memorial Site, and we usually have a student that comes out and plays.
My glasses on. And move on to 9.3, Superintendent Dr. Paul Saviano.
Good evening, everybody. I'll be brief. We are working on a fiscal stabilization plan. The district is required by county to submit a fiscal stabilization plan. Many districts are going through this. We're not the only district. A lot of it's been attributed to declining enrollment. And so we have to put a plan together. We have 90 days in which to put that plan together and really to look at, how are we going to reduce some of the deficit spending that we have. The important part is engaging our community and making sure that we engage our stakeholders in the process and making sure that, we are transparent about what the issues are. We're going to study the issues we have a budget committee that's being formed, study the issue in terms of the budget, look at the areas where we establish some clear goals and strategies in which we can bring down those costs over 3 years. So together we maintain control of our decisions and our budget, but we do that together as one. So we'll continue to work towards that. We have 90 days to submit that, and we have a plan already started to formulate and a committee process. We'll also be reaching out to the community to get the input from the community on how we can be more efficient with our dollars. We've also looked at some of our operations costs to see how we can bring those costs down and to do better there. But it's about continuous improvement, and we'll develop that plan and we'll have a stable budget in the future, and that's our long-term goal. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. 9.4, Educational Services, presentation of the 2025-2026 school highlights at Charles Hoffman Elementary School. Mrs. Marshall.
Good evening. I first want to start by saying I appreciate all the support that that CHE has received in the last several months. We couldn't have done it without the district support. We are all part of one district, and it really came through at our site in the last few months. So I appreciate a lot of people, especially in this room, helping us out. So with that being said, I'd like to give you a little snapshot of what CHE has been up to recently. This year's theme at CHE is Vintage CHE. We're trying to go back to the retro way of kids know all the teachers know all the kids, the parents are involved, and they want to come to school. Lots of smiling faces up and down the hallways. So that's our theme this year. The mission and vision for CHE: to nurture confident, curious, and compassionate learners, ensuring every student has the opportunity to succeed and make a positive impact on the world. Our vision for our students and our staff is to create a supportive, engaging environment where every student achieves academic and personal excellence, becoming lifelong learners and responsible citizens. Here's a little bit about our demographics. We serve grades TK through 5. Our current enrollment is approximately 340 students and climbing. I say approximately because we had 3 more enroll this morning. So every time I went to update the slide, the number was climbing. So we're very excited about that. CHE has a diverse student body, which includes a significant representation of Hispanic and white students. Our ratio right now, we just gained a 3rd grade teacher due to the increase in population. So we are at 24-1 for our ratio right now. 4.8% of our students are English learners, and our population of students with disabilities that we serve right now is 5%. CHE students in the specialized academic instruction setting often have opportunities to participate alongside their typical age peers in multiple areas such as math, ELA, and other curricular subjects. Teachers use differentiated supports, visual aids, small group instruction, and language scaffolds to ensure all students feel supported and valued in their learning environments. We participated in our Williams Act audit on August 27th. For the facility side, there was no insufficient findings reported. On the instructional materials and inside the classrooms and other aspects, they did search through things that weren't curriculum based, but just for safety concerns, and no insufficient findings were reported. So that was a great thing. Another little brag for CHE. Last year in the transitions that we were going through, our staff all the way down to cafeteria, custodial aides, parent helpers came together and really got our students ready for the CASP testing. And it shows in our scores here. We went up in every single aspect of our students that were tested last year. So we are allowing our student council right now to plan a celebration for the staff and to thank them. And then the staff is planning a celebration for the students to thank them. So they're going to get to serve each other.
May I add on to that? So last year, CHE surpassed pre-pandemic scores, showing how much work they've done towards learning loss recovery. And this year, with the, again, increase in scores, it's the highest scores that CHE has ever marked in the history of CASP since 2014-15. So I think it should definitely be recognized. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Our plan for student achievement for goal 1, and the goal is increase student learning and support professional development. That's a thought of some of our PLC at work there, getting ready for some assessments. Goal 2 is to facilitate safe and positive school climate. That picture is depicting our new TK tables that we used our funding for at the end of last year. So they are TK sized and appropriate. They're safe. They're all rubber at the bottom, and they all have whiteboard tops. So we're saving paper at the same time. Goal 3 is to engage family and community. This was our recent first responders assembly where the Running Springs Fire Department came and brought Sparky and did some fire safety training for all of our students. To go more into goal 1, we're focusing on continuing our collaborative efforts to enhance literacy and mathematics achievement for all students across the board. The left side of the screen that you see there is our program that was started by Mrs. Davignon, our kindergarten teacher. It's called Raccoon Readers. Our upper grade students donate their recess time after they eat lunch, and they go and work with our 1st and 2nd graders, and they grab a spot in the hall and they read together. So the students get to sign up to be a part of this program, and we rotate every 3 to 4 weeks different students because the waiting list is extremely long to get into this group. The second half of the slide there is the collaborative math groups where we have our peer support groups. So our students that are catching on are helping the students that didn't catch on the first time, catch on the second time. So they're working in peer groups. The goal 2, to foster a culture of accountability by ensuring students are present, punctual, and engaged every day while promoting the use of restorative practices to support positive behavior and relationships. We have been focusing a lot on attendance. That seems to be an area where we are working on improvement. Ms. Stebbings is passionate about attendance. She greets everybody with a smile. When they're not there, she's calling to make sure everything's okay. In the month of September, she hosted a program that if you were there every day in September, you got to come to the big game. So we hosted a huge football party. We had 192 children in attendance at that party. And then on the other side there, we have our Rocky Reward system where they get to save their Rocky Rewards for different aspects. One of them is that they save 25, they get to come into the office and spin the wheel. And on the wheel are certain prizes that you just can't get every day. One of them is to be principal for the day. We have our first student who is coming in tomorrow in a suit and tie, and he will be the principal signing executive orders real responsibly. His father is very thrilled. He's reached out wanting to know if he can come take pictures. So we're looking forward to how that goes tomorrow. And I want to commend Mr. Malone down there. He made our slideshow, coming and helping us with our one-to-one Chromebook checkout for 3, 4, and 5. For goal 3, family and community engagement is essential to every student's success. We are strengthening partnerships through clear communication, inclusive events, and opportunities for families to be active participants in their children's learning. By fostering collaboration with families and community organizations, we are establishing a supportive network that empowers our students to achieve success. So here you're seeing our 9/11 recognition. We had our Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts along with the Running Springs Fire Department led the entire program for us. We have our back to school assembly, our back to school night. The PTA put on a boohoo woohoo breakfast for all of our parents the first day of school. We had a great PTA this year. We got a new board. They're all brand new and they have great ideas. Our MTSS team is running stronger than ever. Comparing this year to last year at the same time, we have an 80% decrease in behavior referrals right now at CHE. We attribute this to our MTSS team, our welcome back student assembly where rules were laid out for everyone clear. Our back to school night parent meeting, some of you attended. I explained the new discipline procedures, which is that form right there that goes home to the parent with the student's written statement on the back of whatever behavior modification needs to be made. So we're involving the student and their parents in step 1 of the discipline, not waiting for it to progress. Those are just kept in the classroom in a binder. And after 30 days, we give it to the student. They get to rip it up and throw it in the trash can. We have a lot of increased parent involvement this year. We've invited some of our key parents to come and help in the classroom so that they can observe and offer some suggestions on maybe some students that we can get outside the box thinking on. And there you go. That is Charles Hoffman Elementary in a nutshell.
No, that school mascot is so damn cute. Just have to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tracy. But actually, Bill, do you have any questions? Nope. Okay.
I want to just ask one question, sorry. I forgot what it was, you received the high praise during the Williams Act visit where you organized all, I forgot exactly how that was, but I thought it'd be great if you could talk about that.
Yes, you're talking about the green papers.
Yeah.
When I worked with Ms. Whiteside getting ready for this audit, it was very nerve-wracking. My goal honestly was to see if we could just get it quickly, have the auditors come in the classroom, find what they needed and move along. And so we came up with the idea that the Williams Act papers were green that needed to be displayed. So I gave each teacher several sheets of huge green construction paper to identify all the curriculum in the classroom. So whether it was on the back of their windowsill, it was on green paper. If they had it in a cabinet in their room, the cabinet was then outlined in green construction paper so that the auditors could walk in, and we had explained it to them in our pre-meeting. They could walk in and easily identify where they were headed for curriculum. And it also created less disturbance in the classrooms as well.
Thank you.
I believe the team had something great to say about the school too, right, Dr. Seviano?
I'm gonna turn that over to Ms. Whiteside, because she coordinated that.
And to add about the green paper, multiple of our curriculum had multiple volumes, right? So they're gonna say, pull out your science, right? Well, there's gonna be one in their desk, but the remaining volumes for the rest of the year all have to be in the classroom as well. And so that orchestration of ensuring that all volumes are in the classroom through the green paper is why that was so important. It's such a great way to organize it. And so as we talked about that, we talked about having the posting match the same coloring. So the posting across the district is green this year as well, so that everything matches. But to the visit that day, high praise across the board to CHE for their organization, their facilities, their curriculum use, really high praise across the board. In fact, they did have the experience that this school was hoping for, in that as they walked into rooms, it was very fast, and they're very thorough. So the fast was not because they weren't still giving that attention to detail, but because everything was clearly in order and in use. And so again, very high praise. And the district they went to next said they got there early. They might have gone to Big Bear next, and someone gave me a heads up on it. They said CHE must have done so well because they arrived to Big Bear early. So very nicely done, CHE. From that.
Okay, moving along to 9.5, educational services, presentation of the East Valley Special Education Local Plan Area, EV SELPA, or EV SELPA, bronze ribbon of inclusion to Mary Putnam Hank at PH Intermediate School. Yes. Mr. Bell, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Okay, you can please.
Yeah, you're coming up. Come up. Come on up.
We got a banner to see.
There you go. Come on up.
See the
Oh, it's okay.
pictures. Yes.
This is the beautiful part.
We're gonna do a big picture in a minute.
Okay.
Could you say a few words about?
I would love to. This is demonstrates MPH's staff's commitment to intentionality, ensuring that all students, especially students with IEPs, get to experience the best that MPH has to offer all of our students. I think it's important to say that not only is this a testament to our wonderful staff and teachers do all the hard work for our students, the MPH students themselves are a huge part of this ribbon of inclusion, as letting all of this happen and inviting everybody into their classrooms with no questions asked whatsoever. It's a huge honor and it's a huge win for our students. And it's all because of MPH great staff.
Would you mind talking a little about the process you went through?
The process was, I'm gonna have to see if the process was a rigorous process of data collection, pieces of evidence, messages to the community, any type of intentionality we showed to ensure that students with IEPs are able to receive the exact same benefits of education as any other student was collected and reviewed by the East Valley SELPA team and given their final word of approval. There was also a piece of SIL data that we had to ensure that we were able to prove our students' minutes and their time in inclusion classes versus their time of pull out, and that we were reading the 80% range.
Congratulations, and I'd like to take a picture Board, got any questions?
I do, and I'm not recalling the number. Maybe you recall the number of how many schools have actually qualified for recognition?
4 schools in the East Valley Sopa, which there's some of the biggest school districts around. There are hundreds of schools.
I counted, yeah, it was like 120 schools within East Valley Sopo roundabouts.
And 4 of them have had recognition.
Mm-hmm. And including PH.
Yeah, and so including them. One other question, and this might be more for you, Dr. Saviano. When they did the presentation down the hill, the readout that they had was absolutely beautiful. Is that on our website, or is that somehow available for the public to hear or see?
Yeah, we can get a copy of that out. Absolutely. And we'd like the board to take a picture with everybody here.
Well, I do want to thank everybody, the board, the cabinet, for all the endless support you show on PH. This is just as much of the work for y'all did, so thank you.
Just,
Yeah.
Just one quick thing. I know that some of our new teachers were a bit scared when they saw I have to do what, and now they love it. They're so into it. They love the program. They see the collaboration. They appreciate it. So I think that could be seen as challenging. What does this look like? And we have testimonies from our teachers that are very happy with how it's going.
That's huge, because that takes trust to be able to put themselves on a limb and change. That shows that they trust in their leadership in order to be able to venture out there. So that kudos to the whole school, the whole team.
Thank you.
What?
Oh, no.
No, I've already got.
No.
That was it, the first one.
And he said the entire county,
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Yeah, it's, it, thank-
Okay.
Yeah.
we're in the entire county.
Come on, Dusty.
Let's stand behind.
I'm short. Yeah.
Come on, after the front.
Wait, you gotta get, hold on.
This is the director of Ed Special Ed. He needs to be in the picture. But we want the school board here. So. Yes, we did.
Do you guys want to get on really green?
Hey, he said the entire cabinet. The entire cabinet.
What was that?
This is the building is great. It's a great idea. It doesn't exclude anyone.
Oh, that's great idea.
I'm gonna get behind. You know, when you love what you do, it's not working.
Hands on that thing, right?
I got it.
You're supposed to be in it.
So
Shannon.
Shannon, you're getting called out. No, Shannon.
He's coming around.
He's going around the backside. Okay.
Come on in.
One, 2, 3. Got it.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Good work,
Yes.
He's nice. I think it's a very cool. I'll give a little bit coming in. Right.
Just letting you know.
So 9.6, we already completed. 9.7, educational services, presentation of the Head Start preschool update, including our new, I'm sorry, I forgot, I know it's preschool, Victoria Haddad, but what is her title? Preschool coordinator. I did have that correct. And Mrs. Whiteside and Mrs. Nickersmith.
All right, good evening. We appreciate your opportunity to share with you a little bit about our preschool program and to welcome our new coordinator, Ms. Haddad. Okay, so we will go ahead and get started there. Our ROWUSD Head Start Preschool at BOE. I remember it well. Okay, so I can get all in the right order. We are building foundations for lifelong learning. So you've seen our partnership. You heard the update earlier this school year on our partnership with SBCSS and the Early Ed Department and how we got connected with the Tomorrow's Readiness Starts Today 0 to 5 initiative, which part of that has been building up our preschool and having those opportunities here. That does align with the Cradle to Career Roadmap that is shared with San Diego County Superintendent of Schools. As you've seen, that is our 3-year grant of $250,000 per year for that implementation to create those connections in our community, 0 to 5, and really start that enrollment, really start that early literacy and intervention with our RIM community and connecting our entire mountain, 0 to 5. And as you're seeing all of our initiatives across the district, really starting as early as we can and providing all the way through to adult ed. And some of our college opportunities we're doing. Program goals, again, as we just mentioned, that early enrollment, family connection, and early literacy and intervention through this pilot program. Our licensing compliance, it is a partnership between Room of the World and preschool department, so PSD, which is different than early ed SBCSS. So again, 2 different components. We do follow the Title V, Title 22, and Head Start standards to ensure that a high quality learning environment. We have a new preschool coordinator, a preschool teacher, and a preschool aide, and you can see them in the picture there, Miss Jen and Miss Haley in the preschool room, and the picture down at the bottom of some of the furniture in the room as well. It's a very engaging and warm space. It's just great to see the students in there and the joy that is brought to every day. And something we'd like to share with you is upcoming. We were contacted by SBCSS and our early ed department and our partners there who shared that through the trust agreement that they're working through, they were contacted by the Capital Group in Sacramento for a visit to the preschool on November 19th. So we're going to have somewhere between 20 and 25 members of the state assembly. You're going to have members of Room of the World Unified. You're going to have members from SBCSS and PSD. They said they wanted to highlight what it is to grow through RIM. And that alignment to our portrait of a graduate starting as early as preschool. So we're really excited to share that and to share our preschool with them. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Neversmith, who has been instrumental in the implementation of our preschool program.
All right, good morning, good afternoon. It's been a successful triumph to get the work that both Jen and Haley are doing and align it with our district goals and our visions. So just looking at a few of our bullet points, both of them implement and use daily the creative curriculum, which aligns with what we are doing. We also are working and collaborating with the primary school for a smooth transition. Some of the students in the picture are siblings and or cousins. So we will already see that progression happen with some, but we are working to integrate them into the building on a regular basis. They come up weekly for library services. They took part in our picture day. They're going to be part of our Christmas festival as well. So we're incorporating them as much as we can. The staff also receives professional development at least monthly from the county as well. So they're aligning with both our standards and theirs. Okay. District goal number 2 for the facilitate a safe and positive school climate. For this one, Jen and Haley work daily to implement those SEL practices because they are little. These are little cherubs, and they need that daily check-in. They need to feel safe. They get down on their hands and knees and they work with them every day. They maintain safe and child environment with age-appropriate designs in the class. If you have the opportunity and the chance to come see the class, it is amazing. And the kids, they brush their teeth after breakfast. They're just all hands-on engaging. And so with our third goal, engage family and community. One of the things that Jen really works hard with is to connect with each family member. We can only house so many right now. We have 12. We'd like to grow that up a few more, but Jen, the teacher and on staff, she works really close with the families to ensure that the children feel safe, the parents feel safe. That first couple weeks of school, these are the parents' babies. This is the first time they're leaving, and it's just as hard on the mom and dad and their family members that it is for the kids. So they support one another. They're on the class dojos. They message back and forth with each other so that there is a common bond. They know that they are loved by that staff in there. We've also got family engagement opportunities available for them to come in, and we're starting to allow for volunteering in the classroom as well. So, Going forward, looking ahead, of course, we want to build lifelong learners. As Jen said, we are pushing these kids up from preschool all the way up to room high school, which will be amazing. And just that connection to get our students that we don't currently have, to get them in our system. That's it. That's it.
Are there any questions? I have a question. Is there a waiting list, or in terms of, are we, and we have all the seats filled and, you know, at this point, or is there additional need that we already have for a wait list?
Currently, there is a wait list. There's parameters that have to be set by the Head Start program. I would love to see that grow, and we do have that additional building, but that could be future talk.
I just have a comment. I can't wait to see what happens. I think it's gonna be great for the community. So thank you for all your hard work.
So one other thing, can you, yeah, I'm seeing it, there's a full kitchen
Yes.
in, can you talk about that?
So the portable itself just looks like a generic portable, but when you walk in, it is amazing. It's fully outfitted with a state-of-the-art curriculum materials for the students, but it has a full grade commercial kitchen in it as well. Beautiful stainless steel. Meals are prepped and completed in there, and then the students, they eat some pretty good meals. And then there are 2 bathrooms. One is for staff only and one is for the students. Yep, and 1 portable. It's beautiful.
You have a chance to see it, if you haven't already, yeah. Any other?
Just a comment. We've had the privilege of being there. I was there, I think I've been in there now a couple of times. It's amazing. Not only are the county workers that are there, but our staff is there doing a great job trying to deal with all of us adults that are in the room. I think we're more challenging than the little children are, but the love and just the creativity that's there in the classroom is really special. So I'm proud of the team there and the children.
And Bill is correct. Adults come in and out all day long, so the students are not fazed by the adults that are coming in and out. They're very comfortable with people coming in. They're going to ask, you know, who are you? Yeah, very typical. But they love for you to get involved. They like for you to dance and be part of their program and sit down with them.
We also want to just send a thank you out to SBCSS as well as PSD. They're very responsive, both ends. They're 2 different entities. If you're familiar with SBCSS specific to TK-12 and PSD specific to Title V, Title 22, and Head Start. And so that responsiveness, their support with all things personnel, with all things, whether it's resources or professional development that's happening monthly, they're very, very, very helpful. And you saw at the last board meeting that SBCSS had donated furniture. And so that's part of why our building looks so amazing, is we got this great furniture from SBCSS that did not have to come out of our grant funding, that they donated to us to support our preschool program and its growth. So we're very thankful to both SBCSS and PSD.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nine point eight, educational services. Presentation of the 2025 California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, the CASP scores, and data for Rim of the World Unified School District.
All right, good evening again. Here I am. All right. So giving an update of our CASP scores. I love that trustees are already shared. If you think about 2014, 2015 to 2024, 2025, that's 10 years of CASP. And so what you will see in the data that you have in front of you, you have more complex in-depth data at your tables there. I'm going to go over kind of a generalization and refer you to that data. But overall, we have some great things to celebrate, and we're continuing that positive momentum. I do always like to start with that connection to assessment and why we take each assessment, and I'll make that very brief because I think we're all pretty familiar. But CASP is 1 time a year. The end of the year, it's your summative assessment. Our iReady diagnostics, those are our English and math proficiency diagnostics we take 3 times a year. We are currently working on our common district assessments, or our CDAs, that are grade level standards aligned assessments that'll give that kind of monitoring along the way to lead us up to CASP. as well as in the development, are common formative assessments that give that support for intervention and enrichment. It's important to really see the interconnection of the assessment so that when we look at CAS, we realize it's not a one and done, but there are several initiatives and things that happen along the way to get us there. So this slide you see here gives you a breakdown of the trends of ELA, math, science, and our LP. And so looking at that, the trend that you're seeing from 24 to 25 is an increase for every area. So we are on the upward trajectory. We know that as we came out of COVID, right, our 20, 21, 22 years, we were, bringing them back up from that point, and then 24, and now 25, we're starting to hit back to our pre-COVID percentages. So you'll see some of those jumps back up as we're continuing all those efforts across our district. This slide that you have here, and it essentially looks like your second slide of this packet. That gives you a breakdown across all of our learners, our English learners, our students with disabilities, and that's when you'll see the SWD, SED, socioeconomically disadvantaged or low income, depending on which report you see, 2 or more races, homeless, foster youth, Hispanic, and white. These are the major student groups that you'll see in the LCAT that are required in our LCAT. And you'll hear more about that at a later board meeting when we go over the dashboard. But as you look at those trends there, I've been adding each year since 22, so that you can see that longitudinal data and kind of the shifts across the board. ELA from our previous year, you see a 1.62% increase. Math has a 1.15 increase, science 1.06, and our LPAC proficiency or our LP has gone up 7.18. We're continuing to demonstrate those gains with students with disabilities in ELA, math, and science, and our English learners in ELA. This slide here is your first one in the packet, and that gives you kind of an overview of the district as a whole and where you're seeing the growth. And overall, again, as we mentioned, you have growth across the board, and those few areas that you see a slight dip are really not statistically significant. There we go, you can get that up. In terms of that change based on our percentage and our total number of students. So you're seeing really strong gains in ELA, math, CAS, and LPAC, as you heard from Ms. Marshall earlier today. Bless you. At LAE, math and science are up in a steady ELA. For VOE, you see us up in ELA, science, and the LPAC. MPH has consistent growth in all content areas, and LPAC is up 10%. Mountain High School had an increase of 27% in English. And then RBA, you see a double-digit gains in ELA, and then 5% in math, and then RHS maintains steady performance across the board. So when we look at what is our strategic plan and what are our next steps, when it comes to instruction, curriculum, and development, that's where you often hear about our guaranteed and viable curriculum, and how we're working with our teachers in collaboration on aligning our standards, building our common assessment, building our assessment culture, and working towards that. We had 2 GDC days, as we call them, this week, one today and one was on Tuesday. We worked with our 5th grade team. If you've ever had an opportunity to see the GDC at work and to see our grade level teams looking through their standards, aligning, specifically today when I came in, they were looking at the writing standards and how they organize the writing across the trimesters and how that aligns across the grade levels. Really great discussion and how that also aligns with the reading, writing, speaking, listening standards and the grade level specific standards. Student learning and achievement. We are looking at the goal of a 5% gain on CAST and the LPAC. So you see that down under student learning and achievement. That's going to be aligned to that GDC, CDA, and iReady monitoring along the way. We're also providing targeted tutoring. All of our school sites are building their tutoring plan for this school year and have set aside strategic funding for each of those. ELOP supporting our elementary and middle school, A through G funding for our high school, CSI for Mountain. And so again, working through our resources, being strategic in that to build tutoring and support. Professional learning and collaboration, lots of professional learning happening. We have a great PD day planned for Halloween. We promise it will be spectacular. And it's going to be the power of the P's that day. We're doing a common language and understanding of PLC process for all of our teachers. Then we're going to move into sessions specific to Power School, which is our new assessment platform, and Panorama for our MTSS data. We are also having our VAPA teachers, PE and foreign language teachers do a department showcase, which is going to be really exciting. So working towards that. Aside from that, we're seeing PDN training across inclusion, EL, Orton Gillingham. We have another Orton Gillingham cohort that will be trained in December. And that'll reach the teachers that either have not had an opportunity to be trained or are new to our district. And that's in support of literacy. We've had training, multiple trainings through SBCSS for the math framework, Frog Street, AI. We continue to partner with Solution Tree for many of our PD's trainings and consulting. They'll also be part of our PD Day on October 31st. And so our innovative partnerships down at the bottom right, we are continuing to work with Cal State San Bernardino on dual credit, direct admissions. Our direct admissions field trip will be on November 20th. As of my last conversation with the high school, we're looking at about 90, a little over 90 students, A through G, that are going to be going to that field trip that are already accepted at Cal State San Bernardino. So really cool to see, and I'm really looking forward to that field trip and the opportunity for these students to feel like I'm a college student. This is real for me, and I get really excited about those things. But Cal State San Bernardino has been a really amazing partner, along with the direct admissions, the dual credit we're working towards for spring semester at the high school. Project WET, we have another Project WET curriculum, I believe, happening at LAE tomorrow, and we had MPH last week, and that is Cal State San Bernardino students, along with Dr. Alford, doing the curriculum engagement through the Project WET, which is really exciting, aligning with the NGSS standards. We have UC Davis CSEM coding and robotics. I can tell you without hopefully embarrassing my own son, he had a day where he had to be home due to an injury, and he said, let me get on my robotics. Let me get on my coding and the robo thing, Mom, the robo thing. And so he got on his robo blocky. It's really cool to see the alignment of the STEM and the math curriculum and the excitement from the students, and seeing that at home as well. So that was pretty cool, especially as he looked at me and said, do you know what this is, Mom? And I was like, hey, why don't you show me? I would like to see that. Yes, I'd like to know more. Anyhow, so along that line, preschool, adult ed, diploma, GED, ESL, our Head Start program, our AI task force, our inclusion steering committee, our parent and community engagement. So when we look at what are we doing about our scores, and we take a look at instruction, curriculum, looking at student learning and achievement goals, looking at our professional development and the initiatives across our district, there is a lot happening in RIM, and we are really excited and proud of all the things that are happening in our schools and across our district. So when you look at that data, and again, I know you can see that there, so I'm not going to go over each one because I think that the actions that we're looking for in each of those areas are the biggest pieces. You've heard about the district and the site trends there. You can see that in front of you. But I did want to give you just a little bit in terms of our action plan around EL and students with disabilities as I wrap up, as those are two areas that we are identified for providing additional supports, and we want to continuously grow and improve. For our EL students, we have, and supports for our ELs, it really starts with communication and organizing around our district, our principals roundtable as instructional leaders, our site leadership teams, our department and grade level teams at the site, and ensuring that an EL focus is included in all of our meetings, making sure that we're looking at how inclusion of our English learners and our students with disabilities is a priority. What are the research? What is the strategies? How are we engaging and incorporating our students there? It's how we intentionally build EL site plans, how we use our resources for integrated and designated supports. It's also how we get the feedback from our DLAC and our ELAC. So if you remember from last year, our DLAC asked for ESL in the adult ed. And we were really excited last DLAC, which was last week. They were singing the praises of the ESL opportunity in RIM, and that was very responsive to our DLAC in the past. Also, we had a really great idea come out of our DLAC. We've been talking to you about the EL parent engagement night that we're working on. And at our DLAC meeting, some of our parents shared, I have students at multiple schools, and that means I have to go to multiple parent engagement nights. So our team decided, let's make one. So they're doing, and we're working on an EL parent engagement night district-wide at the high school that's coming in January. And the teachers and EL coordinators are building the plan based on what we're hearing from our DLAC. Specific to tables for elementary, middle, and high school, specific to iReady, to LPAC interim assessments, how to thrive at elementary, middle, high school. And these are all ideas that are coming from our team. I heard another idea today that they want to make sure that they're bringing mental health resources to the EL parent engagement. Bring food? And food, yes. Make sure light refreshments, which I don't want to allow for. Yeah. All right. So again, you can see that list, a lot of things that are happening. Our EL data chats, our parent engagement night, use of elevation, and the UDL or UA, which are oftentimes synonymous I can talk. Really, really important. And then we have our next SBCSS EL PLC training. That's a lot of acronyms. And that's coming December 3rd. So SBCSS will be working with our teachers across the district.
In regards to the EL student data chats, who does those with the kids? The EL coordinator? Is it a district level person? Who's doing the data chats?
Absolutely. So the EL data chats are orchestrated through our EL coordinators so that they combine all the data. At the secondary level, that's a little easier to do in the ELD designated. At the elementary, it's a combination of your EL coordinators, bilingual aides, and the classroom teacher.
Okay. And kind of what do they look like? Do they sit with the kids? Let's just talk secondary level because there's more understanding of like, here's where you're at. This is what you need. You just need this one piece. Is it really getting into the nitty gritty with the kids?
Right. So, and I want to commend Laura Roque, as she was one who really started our EL data chats in our district and created that framework. So, I'm just going to give it up.
So we're mimicking what she did.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And using elevation to build the goals.
Okay.
So specific to what is your reclassification criteria? Where are you on each of those?
Gotcha.
Going to our students with disabilities, you can see that data across the board and where you see our incremental gains for ELA, math, and science, and what that looks like at each of the school sites for English, math, and CAS. But when we look at the action plan, again, very similar to our EL action plan with a couple of tweaks there. The Inclusion Steering Committee, I believe, is next week. Is that right, Mr. Robinson? Yeah. Just kidding. I thought he's just kidding. He said yes, right? So Inclusion Steering Committee coming up soon.
That's correct, it is.
It is, okay.
Skippy,
process. Way to throw the lifeline.
Okay. I love it. So that is coming up next week. Also, based on feedback from our teachers, our first PLC of November will be a RIM SPED inclusion focus, where our SPED teachers will be providing the support to their site teams. And Mr. Robinson is helping coordinate that and is working with EB SELPA on resources. And that was based on our teachers' response to, like the gen ed teacher saying, what does this accommodation look like in my physics class? What does that look like in my third grade class? And how do I make that real for the students? And so being able to have our case carriers and our special services experts to be able to support that, they said that's how they wanted to use it. So that's coming up soon. Very similar, looking at how we look at our data across iReady, across our common assessments and CASP, so that we can provide informative action and really putting that source of pride behind all of our students, including all of our students, and having schools like MPH get the ribbon of inclusion. A lot of great things again happening in our district, and we're growing through RIM as we talked about with the preschool. So it'll be really exciting. So again, I know you've kind of went very quickly. I know you have the data in front of you. Any specific questions?
So ideal. I have a question. So RIM High School, really marginal, kind of stagnant. How do you, in this, I'm not picking on them, but like, how do you, when you see a plateau or stagnation, how do you break through it? You know what I'm saying? How do you just, get through the brick wall, so to speak?
I'm going to just start with that, let you continue. It's about putting the system in for assessment and looking at the data and then making those adjustments in what you're assessing and seeing how you get that growth. So we're in the process of putting that assessment system in, and that's gonna be key to the growth for us. You want to share?
Absolutely. I think on top of that as well, something that we've been working on with supporting inclusive practices or SIP was how do you ensure that the special educators are part of everything, right? They're part of PLC. They're part of professional development. They're part of adoption. So we just had the math adoption committee last night. It's ensuring that our teachers across the board who are co-teaching together and are part of that inclusion process are learning together, are learning the curriculum together, are getting the training together. So that inclusion is not just for the students, but also for the staff, but then also looking at those data checks. We're diving deeper into iReady. We're diving deeper into our assessment culture. And we're diving deeper into the professional learning community and the PLC process. And I think those systems that we're building a foundation for are getting stronger every day. They truly are. And that's due to the hard work of our teachers and having those questions and conversations around, what is our goal setting? Similar to what we're doing for our EL students, how are we goal setting for our students receiving special services? To specifically identify their areas of need and grow together, and we have to look at that data and systemize that.
And good use of PLC.
Absolutely, absolutely, and giving it to our instructional coaches for really working and supporting our PLC process and that common understanding. And in our PD day, that again will be spectacular. Starting with PLC is the very first message that we're all getting together as a group. So we can commonize that. What does it look like when a student's learning, when they're not learning, when they've already got it, and going through those PLC questions?
And I just want to kind of pick up on that on the spectacular day of the 31st. There's inclusion training for our instructional aides here at the district office that will include instructional strategies and inclusion strategies along with behavior support.
So because I have a follow-up on the PLC, so the spectacular training, everyone is required to attend, correct? Just so that everybody's trained in the same manner on the same day, hearing the same messaging. Okay.
So on that same vein, I've got a couple questions. One is the vertical articulation, being able to have horizontal, more team-based, not strictly at school site. I know that we've been doing a wonderful job with handing off, like from 5th grade to 6th grade, 8th to 9th, but in terms of the collaboration vertically, being able to have, Hoffman's done some really wonderful things. Actually, each of the elementary schools have in different areas, and being able to facilitate those, build off of our successes throughout the district. Are there plans to do that?
Well, our guaranteed and viable curriculum days, we don't have them unless every school's there. So in terms of elementary, of course, there's more than one school. So ensuring that we have representation from all. It's an expectation that we all participate in GDC because commitments are made in the room around what standards are most essential, how we're pacing that. All of those things we were talking about earlier with GDC, it's an expectation that we're together because those commitments are made and we have to continuously improve and build our systems as a team. If someone's not part of that team, let's say they, have an emergency or aren't able to come, they recognize that the consensus and commitment made by the team across multiple schools is how we're moving forward and providing support.
So as far as the vertical, I'm thinking in terms of math, that's my go-to. Is especially when determining the GVCs, being able to make sure that it's fitting in vertically so that there is continuity from one grade to the next. And that's also being completed through that process.
So the GVC is essentially the horizontal and the IST or the instructional support team is the vertical. So for example, when we chose Power School as the common assessment platform, that's where we pulled together teachers TK through 12. That way we can see that alignment. And some of the pieces we looked at for an assessment platform was, how does this look across the grade levels, right? So that students have that continuity and comfortability with the system. similar as we were looking at the math adoption committee materials yesterday and looking at decisions moving forward, we talked about the vertical articulation importance of what is the math curriculum we're choosing in elementary, middle, and high school, and how do they align for the student, and seeing the student view as they're growing through RIM. So very important conversations, and IST has 4 more meetings this year to continue that vertical articulation and finding out how we can continue that support.
I think it's also important to know when you're looking at curriculum, not every curriculum meets all grade level needs. And so you have to kind of look at that from a standpoint of, how do they work together? And you look at other resources for that.
Understood, and be able to have some support materials. The other question, I don't know if you really can speak to this, is last year we had the line fire, and we also had power outages such that we had an abbreviated opportunity for instruction, and we still had the standard testing. Do you think that our students were impacted by having those extended days off in terms of being able to get all the learning that they needed to?
Well, of course, any time away from instruction is a challenge and is going to have an impact whether or not we see it in the data. But I think what we do see in CASP is that we continue to grow despite. And so that's the strength of RIM, is that despite the outages, despite the fire and the different things that had us out of school, that continued commitment to instruction, that continued commitment to student learning is evident in CASP because we still saw gains. We didn't see a snowmageddon drop.
It's pretty dang impressive to know that, looking at how much growth we have and its strength through adversity, it's pretty amazing.
I'm looking forward to 26 schools.
Anything else? Bill, do you have any questions or comments? I'll take that as a no.
Thank you.
I shook my head, no, sorry, thank you.
I had a question about CAS scores. I think those have consistently left behind a little bit, and when we look at yearly math scores. So I'm curious what specific interventions you might have in place for preparing for CAS over next year.
Absolutely. And looking at our past scores in science, both of our adoptions are relatively newer, both Amplify and saw this at the secondary level, Amplified elementary. We're continuing to look at those trainings, but also looking at grant opportunities for potential STEM extensions, similar to how we're looking at UC Davis STEM, because even though that's more focused on math standards, we're looking at those opportunities to grow. And that's where you see, like, for example, LAE will have their project wet tomorrow. We're looking at those supplemental pieces as well as how we can strengthen the training for Amplify and solve this with our board adopted curriculum. So more to come on that, but definitely conversations we're having in IST and GDC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Whiteside. Okay. 10.0. Discussion information items. 10.1 legislative advocacy report, fiscal impact none.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the report from the LAO's office, the legal analyst office. They do the revenue projections, and right now they've recalibrated the 24 year, they've recalibrated 25, and they're looking at projections for 26. Right now, there's $21 billion in total over 3 years of increased revenue. 2.3 billion in the previous year that's closed already in 2024. Remember, Prop 98 was suspended, so some of this money that we'll be receiving is like catch-up money. So what we're going to be owed on the catch-up money is 92 cents on every dollar, whereas normally it's 40 cents on a dollar. So, and this year, 9.8 billion is coming in the middle of the year. That's what they're projecting. We'll get 40 cents on the dollar, or 40%. And then they're projecting right now a $9 billion increase next year. This is all going to be ahead of their big November report. So, the numbers are always flexing and influx. There is incredible concern though about what they're calling the AI and tech bubble. So they're watching that to see if there's going to be any negative impact on California's revenue, because we are based on that, you know, capital gains and stock market and all of that other stuff.
I
Even
can
though,
add a little context around that AI tech bubble. A recent report from MIT showed that 95% of AI initiatives led by companies have had no impact, no ROI. Only 5% of AI projects implemented
Exactly.
at the commercial level has impacted the P&L for industry. So that's some of the data that's indicating there may be something going on here.
and then even though we have a projected increase in revenue over these 3 years, the expenditures, the expenses are increasing, and they will be growing due to changes in federal funding of education. There's an inherent structural deficit, so even though there is increase in revenue, there's also increase in the expenditures. So just giving you an update. So their big report's due next month. Then we'll see what the governor's office decides is, you know, because it could not, their office releases their own projections, and then they do the governor's budget in January. So some bills that I want to quickly go over. So, before we get started, there is a fall joint meeting between this San Bernardino County and Riverside County school boards and superintendents on Monday, October 20th at the DoubleTree Inn. It's exciting, and the focus is going to, it's a way to strengthen these two huge counties in California. And the topic of the keynote basically is attendance tools, giving actual tools for school boards and superintendents to increase attendance, which we've been talking about. So anyways, I'm excited about that. All right, so AB 65, which is the 14 weeks of fully paid pregnancy leave, didn't even make it out of the Senate. It wasn't even heard on the Senate. So dodged a bullet, Mr. Hansen. However,
Other one got vetoed.
yes, these 60-day substitute bill was vetoed by the governor. The concern is qualifications and certifications. This bill was vastly opposed by CTA. So it was kind of, no, it wasn't expected, but it was disappointing. Go ahead.
But it was passed by bipartisan, correct?
Yes. Everybody understands there's a shortage of teachers and there's a shortage of substitutes. And it is not good. Always you want to have a fully credentialed teacher in the classroom. But if you can't, the next best thing is having consistency by a substitute teacher, especially if you luck into somebody who was a formal math teacher and they can sub. It stinks if they can't be there for more than 30 days. So it's unfortunate, but we'll fight the fight. I don't think this is the end of this particular bill. It didn't sound like it, exactly. So EB 1454, the science of reading, that was signed. Where, you know, the Department of Education, the school board, state school board is tasked with getting a framework in place and materials in place by January 31st of 2027, I believe. And it will, you know, have alignment with and include ELD and also program guidance for dyslexia. So that'll be interesting. The AB 772, Mr. Hansen, the cyberbullying off-campus incidents, it was signed. So we have to develop a policy that includes addressing incidences of cyberbullying off campus during non-attendance hours. So, yeah.
Twitch my eye.
I know, everybody, you just go, why? I mean, I understand the intent, which is cyberbullying never stops, doesn't stop at the door when a student leaves a campus. It continues on and on and on. However, to make a district responsible for getting involved in the off-campus non-attendance hours incidences is really a struggle. So, yeah. So SB 414, which was an accountability, increasing accountability on charter schools. There was because of the fraud in San Diego charter case, the state put on a moratorium on charters, which is set to expire January 1st. So this bill was introduced to address the issues before the moratorium was lifted. This bill was not signed by the governor. This was more accountability, more audits, more oversight to make sure that the fraud that was seen, an extensive fraud case, could not possibly come up again. So this was a big surprise, unfortunately. AB 495 bill, which was the caregivers authorization affidavit. This was signed. However, the most contentious part of the bill that would have allowed non-relative extended family members to fill out the affidavit was removed from the final version. And what it does do is make a slight expansion to the definition of relative to include affinity within the 5th degree of kinship. So like great-greats. Right now it says grand or great-great-grandparents. It could be great-great-grandparents. Not really, my great-grandparents didn't live that long, but there you go. Then we have the 816 bill. Oh, I thought this was interesting. AB 821, the CTE courses go towards high school graduation requirements, right? Well, the law that allows that, it eliminates those CTE courses going towards graduation requirements in July of 2027. So this bill now indefinitely extends the authorization for CTE education to count towards high school graduation, which is a big plus because I know that you are such a big proponent of alternate paths. I agree with you. So I'm just saying is that's a good thing. I didn't even know that was set to expire. So I'm really excited about that. And then the SB 848, which has to do with child abuse prevention. So this has to do with, really, taking a look at procedures designed to address the supervision and the protection of children from child abuse. But the interesting part that's in this bill is that when you go to hire somebody, you make phone calls to previous districts or previous employers to see if there's substantial egregious investigations that happen. This now is certificated and classified, but one component is to alleviate all the phone calls is to have a central bank, so to speak, that could house those egregious investigations. And it would require some money to do that bank, but would eliminate all the traffic that you have to do to pick up a phone and call and investigate and for the investigations.
Yeah, I was on AXA today with superintendents and this was approved, but there's been no funding for the database that they need to be able to track, and predominantly is for classified staff.
So we're looking to see if it's put into the governor's budget so that this could happen, because it would take a lot of work off of personnel to make those phone calls, and it would also be one more layer of protection, and not have people drop through the cracks, and then you end up hiring somebody who did have an investigation against them. So it's like, okay, so hopefully that happens. Any questions or follow-up?
Can I ask? Go ahead, Madam President. Did you want to?
No, go ahead.
The new expulsion law that came down about where the districts are liable for payment of financial responsibility for.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Counseling services. I'm curious on that one because we're looking at that on our end of, can we use like family services, mountain counseling? What does that look like? Is there other guidelines and along those lines?
I'll get back to Dr. Saviano and he can put it in the Friday update.
Thank you.
I don't remember the bill number, but it was related to curriculum, anti-Semitism.
Oh, that, it was signed.
Yes.
However, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to that bill because of the vague language of teaching factual information. Very vague. So the governor did direct the authors and the authors agreed to do a lot of work next year on defining what that means and other little vagueness within the bill. What it does is it tightens up the investigations into discrimination and specifically anti-Semitism. Thank you. In curriculum or teachings in the classroom. And this was a very emotional bill. It was signed as a way to address the issues of concerns that have happened in the last couple of years. However, the bill has a lot of work.
So how does that, the bill is signed, so retroactively and it gets flushed out, does it then have to go through an additional approval process?
No, it's like the late start bill. Rural was not defined, it was defined afterwards. So Senator Bertino, there were meetings held in his office with different people that worked on the definition of rural. And then that information is just pushed out to districts. So it's a similar process.
I do have one comment on the non-classroom based charters.
Yeah,
That moratorium is set to expire January 1st. We received from AXA that the governor is looking for an alternative bill that would be implemented for that. So more to come on that.
yeah. There's definitely need to make sure that there is accountability. This isn't charter school reform. So this is not anti-charter. There are charters that support this, charter organizations that support this because it's in their own best interest to not have this bad publicity of fraud. And so it's all about accountability, just more oversight and more audits.
Cindy? Cindy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
AB 772, do you expect any legal challenges by CSBA or anyone?
I haven't heard, to be very honest. I wouldn't be surprised if there's pushback, but right now there's nothing that has been spoken about in Sandabs on that issue. There's no communication, which you would also get, Bill, directly from CSBA if they intend to challenge it, or any other organization is going to challenge it.
And Dr. Saviano, how are we going to monitor that kind of cyberbullying when they're not on campus?
That's going to be part of the new policy.
We'll get some guidelines in regards to what we can and cannot do, but those typically come when there's implementation of new policy.
I'm sure that we'll get, because this deals with policy, Bill, we usually get something from CSBA or policy written by the attorneys for CSBA. And so I would suspect that that's what we're going to see is CSBA sending us policy to be able to look at and adopt.
I'm sure we'll hear something at the conference this year.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's enough.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about the expulsion.
Yeah. 10.2, Social Justice Committee, Fiscal Impact Plan. Opening up discussion.
Yes, we've been working with the Social Justice Committee report that was provided to the board 2021 to look at some improvement areas. We have started some work on that, but we would need some further guidance from the board relative to the composition of that committee, specific actions we want to move forward with, and how to ensure that student voice is also a large part of that. So I'll open it up to the board for guidance to the superintendent.
Hello, Bill. You had a lot to say before. Let's go, buddy.
I've been waiting, I've said a lot. I've been waiting to hear from the rest of the board who had a lot to say in the formation of the committee. I think it's important to get student participation and involvement. I think the way that the board set up the committee, it also included staff participation, community participation, and parental participation. I understand that there's concern that students might not share with adults around, and so there's one of the reasons why we did with our consultant Judy White, Dr. Judy White actually met with students alone from different campuses, not just high school. I think that's another thing, is looking across the board. I appreciate what's been done this last year in having the LCAP meetings, have students there giving their input. I think that you have to be open to being broader than that, but that's been a great group, and I appreciated meetings that Ms. Whiteside had last year with them, and some of the ways she's gotten them involved. But I think we've got to look and say, okay, there were some recommendations that the committee made to the board that in some ways have already been acted upon, while the board never took action on them. And it would seem like we either need to say, okay, the report was given, recommendations were made, the board chose not to act on them, and we're simply going to move forward, or we should go back and look at those recommendations, because we've been kind of with Dr. Severiano's kind of had to take the responsibility of this without him really having direction from the board on those items.
I think that for a suggestion that we have that conversation, Bill, in a workshop, so we can truly get into discussion mode on those recommendations, and give direction on which ones that we want to move forward with. I don't know if we have to have an official vote, but I think that we can at least give direction from a workshop. And I think we have a workshop in January that we can have this on the agenda to go through the recommendations and then give direction from there. I think in terms of the original makeup of the committee was everyone that from all the stakeholder groups that Bill spoke to. They were in one room, and then Dr. Judy White separated into groups so that each table worked on whatever question or whatever assignment we had. So I'm not sure if we want to continue where we have representatives all in one room, and I think that everybody had to apply to be on that committee, or if we want to work in some manner with parents/community members in a group, students in a group, so that you're correct, Bill, the kids were brutally honest, and there were, emotions and tears in some cases in those conversations. And if we want to do the separate groups so that there's true, as much as can be possible, honest feedback, honest work, and then of course the staff, because the staff does need to be part of it. I know that sometimes parents can be, there are parents that are okay with staff being in the room, and then there are other parents that feel inhibited by what they want to say with staff in the room.
One thing I would add.
I do think that we need to take some formal action to dissolve the actual committee and form what some of us have been talking about, forming a committee of the superintendent's committee. But everyone on the board wanted to be a part of that committee, and we suggested that it should just be 2 board members so that we weren't dealing with Brown Act issues. Then it came out that, well, we needed to do Brown Act anyways. So I would suggest that the board take action to end that standing committee and instead move to a superintendent's committee.
When it comes time for us to have agenda items for future meetings, I definitely think that needs to be a part of what's added. One quick thing I wanted to add, as you mentioned, various stakeholders, I think it would be incredibly important to have recent alumni also involved in the social justice connecting, whatever the makeup is. I think in terms of having recent experience and then no longer being part of the campuses, I think can be incredibly powerful in terms of getting some really authentic feedback.
Dana, that was a part of the original committee too. That was one of the stakeholders that we had, I failed to mention.
They're really part of the community, so it could be part of the community parent/alum group, like that.
But recent, I think, is incredible.
No, I agree. I'm just saying is so that we don't have yet another separate group that we can incorporate them within the community and parent.
And fantastic. And to Bill's point, I think all of us wish to hear the student voice, wish to, but I don't know whether that's necessarily appropriate. So just keeping in mind that there is that desire, I think would be important.
I think that we should be keeping in mind that when people have board members in the meeting, that can also influence what they say, how they say it, and sometimes we can't help ourselves. We have to interject something, which is, not our role in these group meetings. And so I don't know if we should even be present at all in any of these group meetings and let whoever is going to be the guide of the group meetings be the leader, be the person, and all the extraneous constraints maybe, which includes board member present, just be not there.
Any more comments?
And then the last part of the structure, Bill, is that we had updates from the committee to the board. So even though the board is not part of the groups observing or anything like that, we can get frequent updates on that. And if some of it is a little sensitive, I want to say, maybe not really, it shouldn't be shared out in public really. I'm thinking about some of the student feedback that maybe in terms of sensitivity, we can get that update in a Friday update of any kind of sensitive material, just so that we protect students that feel vulnerable. If we're airing stuff out in public, that might not be appropriate and they may feel betrayed.
I have sufficient direction at this point. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So moving ahead to 11.0, discussion action items. 11.1, educational services approval to ratify the Solution Tree Professional Learning Community PLC contract. This contract requires a pre-authorized signature to secure the training scheduled for the October 31st, 2025 Professional Development Day. Fiscal impact $7,810 even. Budget source, student services and professional development block grant. So moved. Cindy.
Second.
Is that you, Scott? Do I have any discussion? Calling for the vote. All in favor? Actually, we're going to be doing roll call. So, Bill?
So how are we saying it now?
All in favor?
Bill, aye.
Actually, you know what? Actually, if you want to go, yeah, Bill, okay. Dana, aye.
Scott, aye.
Cindy, I.
Jordan, I.
What's her name? Cindy, I. Sorry.
The motion passes unanimously. 11.2, Educational Services, approval to ratify the Power School Community Common, Mr. Oliver. Education Services, approval to ratify the Power School Common Assessment Contract. This contract requires a pre-authorized signature to secure the training scheduled for the October 31st, 2025 Professional Development Day. This will impact $41,204.40. Budget source, student services and professional development block grant. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Or second.
Bill, your second. So Cindy made the motion, Bill, you seconded it. Any discussion? I'm calling for the vote.
Bill, aye.
Dana, aye.
Scott, aye.
Cindy, I.
Jordan, I.
Motion passes unanimously. 12.0, consent calendar. Do we have any items to be pulled? I wish to pull numbers 8 and 9.
Uh-oh.
You look to see if there's any others. Bill, you good?
Yeah, I'm trying to get down to 8 and 9 to see them.
Not counseling. Okay.
No, he's talking to himself.
Okay.
It's a good conversation.
I'm sure it's Brian. So, Michelle, you guys ready for me to go ahead? Would entertain a motion for 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, 12.4, 12.5, 12.6, 12.7, 12.10, 12.11, 12.12, 12.13, 12.14, 12.15, 12.16.
So moved.
Cindy?
Second.
Scott, any discussion? Calling for the vote?
Bill, aye.
Dana, aye.
Scott, aye.
Cindy, I.
Jordan, I.
That motion passes unanimously. So now moving to 13.0, items removed from the consent calendar. That was number 8. Special services, approval of mountain counseling agreement for wellness and therapy services to Trim High School for students and staff for the 2025-2026 school year. Fiscal impact, yes, approximately $40,000 restricted general funds. Do I have a motion?
So.
Jordan?
Second.
Scott? I need to recuse myself from this because I'm on the board for Mountain Council.
Yeah, you do.
So I just said about that was why the poll. Is there any what was that?
It's wondering.
You're wondering, okay, any discussion? Calling for the vote?
Bill, aye.
Scott, aye.
Cindy, I.
Jordan, I.
And I abstain. The motion, and recuse myself, the motion passes 4-0. And item number 9, special services, approval of service agreement for Mountain Counseling to provide therapy services to the Room of the World Unified students and staff. For the 2025-2026 school year, provider is providing services for a flat fee of $0. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Jordan?
Second.
Scott? Is there any discussion? Okay, I'm calling for the vote.
Bill, aye.
Scott, aye.
Cindy, I.
Jordan, I.
So that motion passes unanimously with me recusing myself. 14.0, governance and future agenda items planning. Do I have any?
Let's put the dissolving of the standing, no, we had, Bill's point was dissolve the standing committee of the Equity and Justice Social Committee. So we're going to dissolve that. That's our first action. And they would request that we put it on the next agenda.
And then also then form.
The forming of a superintendent's committee.
We got it. On that same agenda.
Yes, please. So that way we're singing right into January.
And then in addition, for a future workshop, possibly January, but they expect future workshop to discuss the recommendations that were made several years ago by the former Social Justice and Equity Study.
Equity and Social Justice Committee.
Okay, equity. Thank you. Is there anything else? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
And as you recall, there was a request to put the adult education update on the board agenda. We have that for the November board meeting.
So as far as the dissolving and the reforming, it's requested to have it on the next agenda, but we'll take a look at the agenda and make sure that we're not going.
These are, well, they're not discussion items, they're just action items, so it should go really quick.
True that, okay. All right, there's no other requested items. 15.0, future meeting dates. Regular board meeting, November 20th, 2025, 4 p.m. Closed session, 5:30 p.m. for open session, 24740 Samrose Way, Crestline, California, 92325. Organizational / regular board meeting, December 18th, 2025, 4 p.m. closed session, 5:30 p.m. open session, 24740 Samrose Way, Crestline, California, 92325. We do not need to recess to close sessions. So moving to 17.0 adjournment, 17.1 adjourn meeting. Do I have you? Scott?
Wow, Scott was fast on that one. Jordan is the second.
Thank you, Jordan second. I'm assuming discussion.